Okay, so I picked up my new bike and I picked it up from Tonka Cycle. Shop is behind me. I didn't get permission to do video in the shop ahead of time, so I'm not going to bother doing that part. But I do have the bike in the rack behind me, and I'll do the review as soon as I get home. Pretty stoked on this thing. I think I'm really going to like this bike. It's going to be a better fit for me. Let's go do the review. Home. I got my new bike right here. Before I reveal that, I want to talk about a couple of things. One thing is where do I shop? Like generally when I'm going to buy a new bike or parts or something like that. Well, there's three main shops in this area that I like to go to, and I'll tell you why in a minute. One of them is Angry Catfish. It's in Minneapolis. Another one is Red Raven. That's up in Crosby in the Cuyuna area where I ride all the time. And the other one is Tonka Cycle and Ski, and that's actually where I got this bike. The reason I like to support those shops is they're smaller, independent, locally owned shops. So I like to support that. And they all have cool staff. Like they have people that I like, that I know their stuff, and so on and so forth. They're dedicated riders, things like that. A lot of the shops, especially like the chain ones, they just don't have that vibe about them. So I generally like to support the smaller shop, the one that's going to be more dedicated to the customer, things like that. So with that being said, let's reveal this bike. And once I reveal it, I'll explain to you why I sold the Ripmo AF and bought this. So you ready? It's new bike day. It's always exciting. Here we go. It's a Rocky Mountain Instinct Alloy 30. 27.5 because it's a small. So when you go to small, you get the 27.5 wheel. I almost got a carbon bike. I almost got a carbon Salsa, but I honestly just haven't had good luck with carbon in the past, and I just want to stick with aluminum. It's just more durable, something I personally trust. Call me old school, whatever, but so I found this bike. It was available. I test rode it. I really like it, and so I'm gonna try this. So the reason why I got away from the Ripmo AF or sold it and purchased this is because earlier in the spring when I started watching videos and I went to Joy of Bike, they talked about this rad measurement, so rider area distance, and I went and measured all my bikes, and the Ripmo AF was actually like almost 2 inches too big when it came to that measurement. And it explained a lot of things to me. Like that bike's great if I'm bombing downhill and going really fast. It worked really good at Trestle Bike Park last year out in Colorado. But for most of the riding I do around here, it's just a little too much bike. It's like I felt like the bike had more control and I had less control over it. And I want to have more control over the bike. So that had a 29-inch wheel. It was a size medium. Wish I would have gotten a size small had I known about the rad measurement, rider area distance, and I'll have a link at the end of this to that video. I would have gotten a small, but I got the medium because that's what the IBIS website recommended for my height, and I kind of wish I didn't go with their recommendation because I almost always buy size small when I get bikes. My low side is a small. My Esker Hayduk is a small. I should have just stuck with my method there. So more about this bike. You might notice that I didn't go like top of the line. I generally don't do that. This is a little over like $3,000. I like to spend, the bare minimum to get what's, decent quality, and then I upgrade as I go. Gives me a few options. One, I can talk about my upgrades on my channel when I do them and the new parts and stuff like that. And two, it allows me to get what I want, not what the manufacturer says, hey, this is the best thing. So that's the way I almost always do everything. I generally don't go out and buy the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 bike. I almost always buy the medium model, the one that I know has a good frame and good, decent parts, things like that. And then I can upgrade upon that. So that's what I'll be doing with this bike over the next couple of years. If it survives that long, you never know. I do not know much about the RockShox suspension. I'm actually, even the DVO stuff, when I bought the Ripmo, I didn't know a lot about that, and I learned about it as I rode the bike more. Same thing here. This is like the Deluxe Select Plus. I don't know a ton about this, but I've been working on getting it set up for my weight and how I like it to feel. The fork, it doesn't even say what model fork it is. Maybe it's a 35 or something. Where is that? There it is. I don't know. So I'll look it up in the specs to see what model fork it is. It does seem to have lockout, air and rebound. So it's got basically 3 settings, which is pretty basic, especially compared to the DVO diamond fork that I had that had all kinds of things: high speed, low speed, rebound and compression. Had this off the top feature, regular rebound settings, air, all of that, right? I might actually like the simpler setup because then it's easier for me to just set it up. But then again, it might have some disadvantages, like that high speed, low speed compression was kind of a nice thing to have on that DVO fork. So we'll see how I like this fork. And if it ends up not being enough for my needs, I'll upgrade it to, maybe I'll try Fox. I've never had a Fox fork, believe it or not, except on a tandem that I had for a while, but that doesn't count. So it does come with a dropper, pretty standard nowadays. 27.5 wheels. I want to say these are 2.4. Oh wait, 2.4 in the rear. I think the front is a 2.5. It's almost like faking a mullet bike, right? Go with a bigger tire in the front, a smaller tire, and now you have a mullet bike. No, but yeah, I'm gonna ride it later today. I'll give more details on it. Plus there's a trail I want to check out, so you'll get a little bit of a trail review and a little bit of a bike review all in one. I haven't seen this particular model reviewed anywhere. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about the alloy ones. They always go to the top of the line, the carbon, the this and that. So it'll be cool to see how the aluminum is, and maybe I'll be the only one out there on YouTube doing a review of the Rocky Mountain Instinct Alloy 30. The fact they call it Alloy 30 bugs me a little bit, and here's why. Alloy does not mean aluminum. Alloy is the combination of any 2 metals. 4130 chrome moly is an alloy. So I think people just make this assumption that alloy means aluminum. In the bike industry, that's generally the consensus, but the reality is, when it comes to metals, is most metals are an alloy. Obviously carbon isn't, because it's not a metal, but when it comes to metals, there's not very few bikes or bike parts that are made out of just the raw single element material. It's usually multiple things combined, which is what makes an alloy. Small pet peeve of mine, but anyway. So yeah, stem looks pretty nice. Cool. I think this bike's going to be a lot better fit for me. I'm going to be able to control it better and so on and so forth. But the only way to find that out is to get out and ride it. I have test ridden it a few times, so I do feel like it does have that more poppy, more control feel to it. And so, yeah, let's hit the trail at some point in my next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.